why are they getting everything that they promised me? Why are they getting everything that I thought we were going to have in our relationship? What's wrong with me? What's actually going on there? A lot of times you'll see whether you're in a toxic relationship, narcissistic, whatever it might be, and you see that person go to the next relationship, it seems like everything that you once wanted, that once was offered or future fake to you, happened in the next relationship. Why is that? And are they actually getting it better than what they had with you? So many times these questions like play through people's heads and through their minds of like what's actually going on, because so often you're in that narcissistic relationship and then you see it happen over and over and over again with different cycles, with different people, with different supply, and it really starts to mess with your mind, right? Like it starts to mess with what you're thinking, what you're doing of like, maybe it was me, maybe it was my fault. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Ben Taylor. I run Raw Motivations, and I'm on this channel as a self-aware narcissist to provide awareness, growth, healing, and change. I do that on a day-to-day basis by meeting with people one-on-one and helping them to work through the trauma bond, helping them to actually process like what they're thinking, what they're going through, and to break free of that toxicity that has them holding on to either hope or potential of another person that they'll change, that they'll get better, or maybe holding on to the cognitive dissonance of thinking like this person is actually this, when in reality their actions are showing something completely different. I try to work with people to actually go through a system and go through a process to rewire the mindset of what they're thinking, how they're processing it, so they stop going back to a toxic person or they get free from that toxic person. As I work with people, I work through getting through the trauma bond. I help people get through the ruminating stage, which is where there's like peace, but it doesn't always feel peaceful. You might be away from the narcissist, you might be no contact, but it still is ruminating in your head. It still is something that's there, that's conscious, that you're still worried about. You're still trying to figure out sometimes. We'll try to help people get through that, the detox phase of that active addiction, and then get to the place of where our vision and values are of how are you going to move forward? How are you going to set boundaries so that you don't go back with a narcissist and that you don't get with a narcissist down the road? Because that's a real potential if you've already been with one. So often when you're in these narcissistic relationships, it gets very crazy in your mind of what's actually going on. But even more crazy happens whenever they leave the relationship. Sometimes you'll see the narcissist get with a new supply, a new person in their life almost instantly. When that happens, it normally kind of goes through your mind of like, what's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? Maybe I could have done something better. When in reality, it doesn't really have anything to do with you at all. And typically, all it has to do is with the narcissist and what they want. Their sense of entitlement, their sense of ego of just saying, hey, I'm not getting what I want. I'm going to continue to move on to the next person. Or I'm getting called out for my actions. I don't want to handle that. I'm going to continue moving on to the next person. So many times when a narcissist leaves you and moves in with someone, continues a relationship with someone, starts a relationship, it happens really fast. That typically is not because they just magically found their soulmate, even though they'll try to get you to believe that through social media. Typically what that means is they've already prepped this person. This person has already been in the wings per se. They've already been in that person's life for a period of time, whether that's as a friend, whether that's just as an acquaintance, whether that's just as a buddy. But they'll have that person there so that that person can step into your role as quick as possible. When that happens, you start to see different things, especially on social media, of different things and different actions that they're doing that oftentimes were promised for you in your relationship. Sometimes what you might see with the next supply, with the next person, are the exact same things that you wanted. You wanted a house on a lake, they're getting a house on a lake. You wanted a trip to France, they're going on a trip to France. Like sometimes it'll be exactly the same things. And it might be really confusing of like, wait a second, like why are they getting that and I'm not? Why did they offer that and actually follow through with that and I'm not? Well, there's a couple things that's going on here. One with narcissists is they're always learning. A lot of narcissists learn, observe, and really figure out what you want so they can withhold that from you. So let's say, for instance, in that illustration that you wanted a house by the lake. If a narcissist knows that, then a lot of times they'll put that out there. It'll be like the carrot that's constantly leading you on, but they're not going to fulfill that. Because if I keep that leading on, you're going to keep staying. You're going to keep giving me supply. You're going to keep, using triangulation. You're going to keep like trying to get better and better and better for my praise, for my approval to make that happen. However, as I keep putting that out there, it's going to keep dragging that relationship out longer and longer and longer. A lot of times what you'll see is more promises, more ideas, more future faking that happens towards the end of the relationship because the narcissist knows that you're onto them. They know that this toxic behavior that they've been having time and time and time again, you're starting to no longer put up with it. Maybe you're implementing boundaries. Maybe you're starting to say, hey, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to involve myself in your argument. Maybe you're gray rocking, like trying to become as uninterested as possible when they're abusing. All different things might be happening that's prompting them to say, let me change up my manipulation, let me change up my abuse so that you stay a little bit longer. At the end of a relationship, the only change that you see from a narcissist is the manipulation of how do I extend my stay in your life. If I can do that, then I can last a little bit longer in keeping you under my wrap, under my control. And so a lot of times you'll see narcissists that they'll future fake a lot of things that they never had any intention of doing. They're learning about you. They're learning about what you want, your hopes, dreams, and desires to be able to keep you on that hook. Now, when they go the next relationship, sometimes you'll see the exact same things happening. When you see those exact same things happening, what that actually tells you is that they were paying attention in your relationship. Okay, in your entire relationship, they were paying attention to what was actually going on. The difference is they chose not to give those things. Now they're with the next person. An easy thing to pull out of the toolbox is, oh yeah, I remember past relationship, they wanted a house by the lake. Then they go into the relationship and be like, I've always wanted a house by the lake. That's just, something I've always thought of. Remember, narcissists aren't going to come together with a ton of personality, with a ton of ideas and feelings and thoughts that are their own. They try to leech off of everyone else. So when they leave the relationship, a lot of times they're going to take some of your hopes and dreams and try to implement them with the next person, because then they don't have to come up with their own. They don't have to actually think about it. It can just be something like, oh yeah, let's do this. When in reality, they don't really care. It's just another manipulation and a tool. When you think about it, when in the early part of your relationship, the narcissist probably came in, showed you different things, showed you fake vulnerability, pretended to have empathy, showed you love bombing, all different types of stuff in the relationship. And some of those things in there were the exact same things that they promised the person before, that they never gave it. One of the things you have to remember is when you're looking at the next supply, when you're looking at the next person, you're thinking, gosh, why didn't I get that? What's wrong with me? You have to remember that there was probably someone before you that was actually thinking the same thing when they were starting their relationship with you. A lot of narcissism and a lot of it is very cyclical in nature, as it happens over and over and over again. And they use the same playbook time and time again. When they go off with the new supply, with the new person, is why we say go no contact and ghost, and don't pay attention to any of the social media, because it's going to be a production. It's going to be something that the narcissist is going to put up there to be able to show everyone else that I'm okay, that I'm fine, that I found the love of my life, that this relationship is perfect. The one I had just wasn't. They were crazy, but this relationship is perfect. And they'll try to convince everyone, including you, that you're the crazy one, and that their relationship now is the best thing ever. A lot of times you'll see a narcissist, when they move on with another person, will try to paint a picture that puts them in the good light and puts you as the crazy person. If you're going through that today, I want you to understand, first off, and when you feel that craziness, the idea of I just don't get it, I just don't see what they see, I don't see what I did wrong, you're probably going to be stuck in some type of trauma bond. That's off the cognitive dissonance, the hope of potential. If that's you today and you're struggling with that, please reach out. I would love to be able to talk to you, help you actually process some of those emotions and feelings, but ultimately get underneath the surface to figure out what's the story. What's the thought that you're believing that keeps you coming back to that toxic person, that doesn't want to let go of that toxic person? I work with people every day on a day-to-day basis on one-on-ones to be able to work through that process, teach them a system, have you apply it, and then go out into the rest of your life applying it and being able to live an aspect of truth and the truth of the situation, because truth is what's going to set you free. If you haven't had a chance to be able to follow me on some of the other social medias, we've got Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Look me up under Raw Motivations. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you so much. Be able to check us out on YouTube as well under Raw Motivations. We're on all those different platforms. Super glad that you guys are here. If you haven't had a chance, you can listen to the podcast too on the fly as you're driving. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, all over the place on a couple things. Amazon Music as well. If you haven't had a chance, download the NARC app. We've got the NARC app. It stands for narcissistic abuse recovery community. It's a community of like-minded people that have come together to try to build that aspect of having advice, having support, having people that understand the shit that you've been through and are there to help support and help you heal and grow. On the app, you have a chance to be able to learn about narcissism. You have courses that have been developed from other content creators, from myself, that are there to be able to help educate you on what you're dealing with and help you break free. And then we also have a place where you can track your no contact, where you can go in every day as an accountability of saying, hey, I'm not getting through, this whole year no contact. I'm just getting through today. How can I say no contact to get today and make sure I record it? Record your truth. We've got monthly exclusive coaching that happens inside the app. We've got weekly lives that are private in there, so you can ask questions, come on screen, interact out of situations that are going on right here and right now, just to be able to get clarity. Would love to be able to have you join us.